Hi LCS artists, let's learn about Jean-Michel Basquiat. Jean-Michel Basquiat is an American artist who created graffiti, street art, drawings, paintings, and collages. Graffiti is artwork that is painted on the side of buildings, and collage is artwork that's created by cutting up pieces of paper and creating a new work of art. So you can see here an image of Jean-Michel Basquiat. He was known for having a unique hairstyle and an example of his artwork. His artwork is always colorful, has black lines, and is always a little bit messy. That was his artistic style. When Basquiat was a teenager, he moved to New York City and started painting graffiti on the side of buildings. Soon, people from the art world started to notice his artwork, and it began to sell in art galleries and in art museums. So here's an image of Basquiat when he was younger, working on one of his paintings. And this next picture is him working on the same painting. You can see that he started to add more detail on top. His lines, once again, are very messy. His artwork is not clean or neat, and definitely not inside of the lines, but it is still somehow very beautiful. And here's just another image of Basquiat while he was living and working in New York City. Basquiat is famous for including crowns in his artwork. For Basquiat, crowns represented power and strength. He often gave, which means he drew or painted, crowns to others in his artwork as a sign of respect. So these are some examples of artwork that feature Basquiat's crowns. Here's a collage where he took different pieces of paper and cut them up and glued them together, and then he painted a black crown on top. Here's another image where he painted a dinosaur and he put a crown on top of the dinosaur. This artwork is called King Alfonso. So Basquiat drew and painted, and then he put a giant crown on top of the person. And finally, here's another example of Basquiat's artwork where he topped his person with a crown as a sign of respect. Here you can see the typical characteristics of Basquiat's art, where his lines are messy, almost like scribbles. He does not stay inside the lines when he colors. Basquiat lived in New York City and would often create graffiti on buildings. He would also paint cityscapes on canvas. A cityscape is a piece of art that shows city buildings and streets. For this first example, we can see that Basquiat wrote Empire, which means he's talking about New York City where he lived. He drew different buildings in New York City and, of course, topped his artwork with a crown. His buildings are very simple with lines. I'm sure you could draw buildings just like Basquiat. Here's a more detailed picture of another cityscape. I can see the city buildings, I can see windows, cars, even an airplane. Can you spot the crown in this artwork? Finally, let's look at one more Basquiat cityscape. Once again, this artwork is messy and not very neat, but I can see the outlines of buildings with black lines. I can also see a crown. Can you spot the crown in this picture? Thank you so much for learning about Jean-Michel Basquiat with me. I cannot wait to see the cityscapes you make inspired by his artwork. Thanks for learning with me.